All right, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year to everyone. I apologize for being a little delayed. Had to figure out a couple of new things. Got some things going on. Got a lot of stuff going on here at Nintex. So definitely excited about this. And just really getting things going. It's a brand new year, so welcome to 2016. Got a lot of stuff that I got to do in preparation for it. If I can get my mic right. All right, there we go. But welcome to the Nintex Hangout for 2016. This is January 6th. My name is Eric Harris. I am the tech partner evangelist here at Nintex, and excited to be with you all here, trying to get some things set up. I do apologize. It's been running around like crazy, trying to get a lot of stuff done. But let's see if I can get this going really quick. Uh, so I can have it. Let's see. I'm going to try to get some things here. Let's try it. See what that does. Alrighty. That is interesting. It's backwards. There we go. All right, so my name's on the bottom right there. I'm going to actually add my Twitter handle so that everyone can see this on here, and trying to get a little more professional about this thing. No, just kidding. But really excited. Hope everyone had safe holidays and things like that. That really enjoyed and getting back to business and things. Wanted to share a couple of things that for me was, and I'm actually going to do a post on this, so there'll be a couple posts coming out soon on the community, so definitely be on the lookout for that. The one post that I have on here is there are I missed two of them. There, I did a top 10 biggest updates and releases for Nintex for 2015. So definitely wanted to share some of those with you. If I can grab two of them really quick. See, make sure I have 10. That will be helpful, right? Can't have a list of 10 and then not have 10. I'm missing three in my list. Why am I missing three? There we go. All right, so starting with the first one, see if we can do this right. The first one, and these are, I want to say, yeah, some kind of order of importance, and that's just my order of importance. It may not be yours, but I'm doing this, so here we go. But we had attachment upgrades. So our products in 2015, we saw a lot of attachment upgrades. We did a lot of different things. From attachment validation and restricting. This meant you can actually go into the product and say the number of attachments that you want or need. You can validate whether or not an attachment has been submitted on the form. That's really helpful. That's actually really helpful if you have like a mobile form, or if you have a web form where you want someone to submit, say, an invoice, or submitting something with a receipt where they need to do an image capture. That's actually helpful, and so that we have that capability. So I rated that as one of the top 10 things that were done for the product that was really cool and really helpful. One of the next things, workflow gallery enhancement to Nintex workflows. That was huge. That was for the on-prem, I mean not on-prem, but 365 instance. Basically allow you to manage more of a management screen. So when you clicked on Nintex workflow, you didn't go necessarily into just the product itself, but you were routed into the workflow gallery first, and then into the workflow designer, whether you want to open one, manage one. You could delete things from there. You can see other workflows that were running on a list that you have permission to edit, obviously, but those things were there. So that was something that was really good. I'm actually going to try to share my screen so I can show you some of these things. Let's go screen share, and let's make this thing happen. Where my screen to? Here we go. All right, and present to everyone. So the workflow gallery, most of you all should know it. And this is, I'm doing these things from Office 365, so that just an FYI for anyone that's watching this. But here, this is the workflow gallery. It allows you to create a new workflow if you want to. You can also manage existing workflows and things like that. And then you can also delete the workflows right from here. So that is really helpful. Also, if you are using the new doc generation or document generation feature, there's some, I believe, that they will have telemetry in here letting you know how many doc gens you have used and have remaining. So that is something else that I believe it'll be here. Hopefully, I'm not misspeaking on that one. But if not, it's definitely available. Once you open up the action, you'll see it there as well. Actually, let me go ahead and show that. Why not? Let's see if I can do that again really quick for everyone. Getting here, I don't know why I didn't just decide to show that in the first place. But let's go to just an example workflow. Let's pull up DocGen. So give it some time to load. And a lot of people I know I've heard, why does it take so long to load, et cetera, is doing a license check on here, make sure yours is valid. But then it's also doing a couple other things and making sure it's loading the right features, et cetera. So, but you go in here and yep, so it does let you know when your quota is inside of that. So that's a place to look at if you're using the document generation action inside of your workflow. It lets you know how many views on your quota. Obviously on mine, I haven't used any for this tenant. So that's a good thing there. Leave that. So let's pull this over here really quick. Another thing, let's look up in Nintex Forms. Let's see if I can find that for you really quick. The let's look up in Nintex Forms mobile. Actually, I should probably say that on Nintex Forms mobile, but it allows you the ability to look up a list. Where is that at? Let's see here. Let's look up. There we go. So you can bring this, create this on here. You can connect it to a different list, and with that, um, you have the ability to. Here it is, child list. Let's do that. You have the ability to then have that let's look at work with the mobile form, which is huge because that enables you to essentially uh, kind of make a more dynamic look and feel with the forms product with someone interacting with the form on a mobile device, which is kind of nice because it's just more value to the product, to the experience, and then ultimately to the user and the data that you're getting in. So that ability. The next thing I have on here is the query user profile action, which is built in. That was one. I've done plenty of workflows where I wanted to kind of automate that process. I didn't want the user telling me who they were. Obviously, they logged in, they signed in. I should know who they are, and I wanted the workflow to kind of kick that off and run with it. And that was something that we've built into the product now, and so it's kind of there. It's automated. It's awesome, and it's helpful. So that's something that I considered as a good upgrade for the workflow and something that is useful. The next one after that was custom branding within Nintex Mobile. So Nintex Mobile Enterprise, so the apps that you can download and install into your phones and using the Nintex Mobile on your phone, you can actually custom brand those. That's good. That is huge because it allows you again to give a unique feel to it. It's not Nintex now. It's XYZ company. It could be ExxonMobil or Coca-Cola or whoever, Macy's or whoever it is that you have a field app that you want people to access. Could be a pub, yourpub.com or whatever. But it gives you that ability to kind of brand that yourself so it's unique to you, and your users can have it. You can actually set it up as a group of apps as well, working with specific things, HR, lead requests. It could be, submit an invoice, or whatever it may be, submit a payment receipt or something. But it gives you that ability. So I thought that was really cool. Deep linking inside of mobile. And a lot of these have to deal with forms of mobile, but I thought these were like really huge enhancements that just took the products further and enables users to do a lot more. So deep linking allow you to, link from an app into a form and actually even pre-populate some of that. That was huge. We have the send notification and I'm going to wrap two of those together, the send notification and task outcomes. So what we did, we're bringing more of that on-prem experience into Office 365. So you have the task outcomes that enabled the flexi like the flexi task options, the capabilities that we had on prem that so famous, everyone loves. They don't use a lot of other things when they're doing assign a task within that. They usually start with the flexi task for that. Not it's one of those things I recommend. There are some restrictions on how some of that is done in 365 because some of the things aren't there in the product or in the platform for SharePoint. So as we brought in, you won't see flexi tasks in 365, but you'll see task outcomes, not task outcomes. Actually, let me go to it and remember the name. Yikes! But no, you won't see. It's not task outcomes, but start a task is one of, and we enhanced. That's what it is. We enhanced the task outcomes available, and also did escalation. That's another feature that's there. I'm going to show this in a second if I can get it to pull up. I'll show this for you. Present to everyone. So let's go back into one of our workflows. And we'll pull up the task. So we'll search for tasks to see what's available. So if I'm wanting to do a task, I can assign a task or start a task process. And they are somewhat similar, but somewhat different. But you have the ability here, task outcomes, to manage or create new. You can have a default. Also, lazy approval, great thing there. Which means you can basically hit lazy approval on here, create your task. The user gets an email, and when they're ready to interact with that, actually do that right from the email. That brings up another update that we made to the product, which was around the Outlook add-in. So now you don't have to actually reply. You can actually hit a button from the email. So that's another great feature. And that is coming to Office 365 as well. So, or Outlook 365 or Outlook in 365. Don't know if that feature, I don't believe that feature is currently working. But it is working for Outlook 2013, 2010, 2013, and I believe 2016 as well. So that is something. And what I'm gonna do, that one of the blogs that I have will list all these out as my top 10 big changing features or enhancing features for the product. But the other thing, like I said, is the ability to escalate. You can do reminders, etc. with that. So we definitely enhanced that piece of it, which again is just, it's great. It's really good. Then going down to, we're at the top three. Let's see here. We have the support for, let's see, which one do I want to pull out here? Let's see. Support console. I'll actually mention that one. The support console allows you to see the workflow errors logging. Basically, it's designed, the support console design. I'm reading the description so that I say it correctly, but designed to make it not only easy for you to see when workflows throw errors, but quickly and consistently pull together that information, the required information to fix the errors. And that's something that's helpful. A lot of people, they say, man, my workflow error, and I don't know what happened, or I don't know where to go to search for the error, especially in Office 365. And so the support console, and I believe that's on-prem with Nintex workflow, it looks like it is, kind of wraps that around, gives you one area to kind of look for that. So giving you that error logging in one place, which is great. Let's go to number two. We have actually that was number two. So number one, my number one biggest update or release for Nintex products in 2015. And this is not a knock on any other product update. It's not a knock on any other, release that we did or any of the other people, because all of them technically just continue to make the product a lot better and continue to enhance the product based on what you, the users and partners, have been asking for. But I think one of the biggest enhancements that you'll see continue to just play into what we're doing with the products and where we're going as a company is the drum roll. I don't have drums here, so I can't do the drum roll. Is the document? Oh wait, I forgot one. I almost missed it. International languages. That's number two. The second biggest thing that was huge, a huge milestone that we accomplished. So definitely don't want to knock that one. Almost missed that one on my list. But number one would be the document generation capability or the action. I think that, to me, my rating for 2015 on all the other releases and things that we did, I think that the document generation one was the biggest one to help continue to be create leadership from an Nintex workflow standpoint, meaning our platform, showing that we understand the market, we understand where our users want to go, and giving them the ability to kind of do more that value add within a product and within our platform. So that would be my top 10 biggest updates and releases. But since I'm not the only one out there that use the products or that work with the products, I want to hear from you. What do you think were you don't have to give me 10. Actually, it'd be nice to give me 10. But what do you think was the top biggest, update or release? What's the biggest thing that helped you with the products this year or 2015 rather? What was the biggest one? And while you're at it, let me know what are you looking forward to. If there's one thing you can say, man, I wish Nintex had this. I wish the platform did this. What is that? Also, don't forget go out to User Voice and check that out as well. But let me know. Those are mine. I'll put out a blog, and definitely if you're in the community, put a comment in there or send me a tweet. Let me know what are your top 10 things or what is your top one thing that you would like the workflow platform to do, or from the list of the updates that you've seen, what's the biggest one that made a difference in what you're doing. So let me know about that. Really appreciate it. Alrighty. I am going to show now the top three. And I know you're like, wow, why are we doing all these tops? Because it's fun to do tops, right? Not really. But no, I'm gonna I'm gonna show you what I think is one of the most influential blogs written by or post in our community written by one of our own. So, let me not get his title wrong. He is the what is Aaron's title? That's bad. I know his title. He's one of the support engineers, I believe. I know he was. Wow, I am going to butcher his title. I should know his title. Aaron uh, is actually he's working and influential in creating a lot of different products for us. I now have to find out. It's like why I should know his title. He was actually promoted as well, which is a great thing. He is the solution developer for customer service. There we go. And Aaron, I apologize for messing that one up. But yeah. So I think if you get a chance to go out, I can't recommend this one enough. Um, to anyone in the community, regardless whether you know what you're doing, you've done it, you're a TE, VTE, you're a partner, you're a customer or user, whoever you are. I recommend you reading his defensive workflow design series. So 4-part series, and I mean it's the amount of information, the amount of knowledge, technical information that he has in it, the updates to just how do you think about going through building your workflows and things like that is hugely important. And one of those things that to me um, was kind of like a pillar in how I helped others approach workflow design and workflow management. And I think it's something that is valuable and something that I recommend a lot. So reading this is a good read. It's something that's worthwhile, and more people should read it. So take a look at it. It's called the Defensive Workflow Design, and it walks you through how to build a workflow design, how to troubleshoot, some other things regarding the SharePoint topology, which is huge. A lot of people, I think, still struggle with understanding SharePoint topology or how workflows interact with SharePoint, and that's something that's there. And then separation of concerns, and then he has part 4, slow down and speed up. So I highly recommend it. It is one of the most viewed resources in the community, and it's something that should be viewed a whole lot more. So take my word for it. Yes, please take my word for it and go read his blog series when using Nintex. It's a good read and something that will help transform how you build workflows and how you use workflows. So definitely, I am definitely privileged to recommend that to anyone that is using Nintex. So. All right, the next one that I will show you is one that's kind of funny, but it's something that keeps coming up a lot. Cascading drop downs in Nintex forms. This was created back, like you can see, almost right when the community went transferred over. Uh, but it was done by Emily Billing, and you can hear her Australian voice on this. Or at least that's her accent. Yeah, there we go. But you can hear that on here. But the video kind of walks through the basics of setting up how to do some cascading drop downs, and something I see a lot of people trying to do in the text forums, and even in SharePoint forums. But here is a blog or a post rather that I will recommend as you start your new year out. And you're trying to do workflows or process automation, and you're trying to do some things and better enhance what you have going on, or what your process is doing, or how users use your form in the workflow and interact with it, etc. I recommend, take a look at this to see, can you make the form design better? Can you do something different to make it where it's easier for users to use, easier for people to input the data that you need so that they can keep doing what they're doing as well? Because you don't want a process that prohibits or restricts someone from interacting with SharePoint or with workflow or with the form, or that stops them from doing their whatever they're doing as far as their routine or getting the information to you. You wanted to enhance it, make it easier, and there may be some requirements where this just can't be done easier. But for the most part, you want to make it as easy as possible on people to do what you're asking them to do, so they'll be excited in doing it. Um, so that's number two. And then number three, um, documenting a workflow. Check this one out. This is really cool. There's a couple of different tips, a lot of screenshots. It was actually kind of nice to see everyone being um, kind of commenting on, how to document a workflow. Uh, so actually, I'm going to do this because I can do this. So you can print the view of the designer. You can actually print that. That is possible. You can also scale it as far as, holding down. See if I can do that. Do control plus, control minus. This gives me the ability to kind of scale if my workflow is, pretty extensive. And on-prem, there are a couple other features such as zoom in, zoom out, and some other things. And then you also do have the ability to change the labels. Both on-prem and 365, you can change the labels. So say, for example, I wanted this to store comment on update or something like that. You can do those. So you can do a lot of different things to help users understand what it is. And if you're designing a process, is especially partners, any Nintex partners out there that are listening or that are watching this, if you're designing workflows and you're documenting that workflow and leaving this process, it's helpful to have these things documented. I've heard that from a lot of customers before. I don't really know what this workflow is doing. I can see it. It kind of makes sense. It's visual. It's helpful. It's more than just text, but I still don't know what it's doing. In this case, providing some extra content here, or like we've seen in some of the other ones, actually going here. So you see where, create an item based on a queried variable, adding that extra text in there is just another step going above and beyond to help users understand what the workflow is doing and going from there. And so that would be the other reason why I mentioned that. So I am going to also, let's see if I can find my other thing really quick. Um, there we go. Find this. So we'll bring this over here. I have to talk about InspireX. I have to talk about it because why wouldn't I talk about it? It's awesome. It's InspireX. It is the conference. And just to let you know, we are getting a lot of people. Oh, sorry, pulled the wrong thing now. We're getting a lot of people signing up. But that's a bad thing because space is limited. Well, not really limited, but we want people there and space for the pre-day. If I can go to that, maybe it shows it on this one. The pre-conference session, yes, the pre-conference session space is limited there, and that is with TechDog. TechDog is actually running a. Not sure why I'm not seeing the actual. Oh, I know why. Let's go to Nintex.com. It's like, why am I not seeing it? Events. And here we go. So the Nintex Workflow Platform Jumpstart with TechDog. TechDog is one of the companies that one of the partners rather that they do a super duper good job, and I'm not just boasting on them. I've seen their content, um, and I've seen some of their sessions. They do a really good job of working with users and understanding the content. They know Nintex. They know how to teach. And that's one of the biggest things. A lot of times you can get a lot of people with a lot of courseware and it's just a concept and you can't really grasp it, so you're not left knowing how do I take this back and and use this in my own organization, etc. Using TechDog is that they approach it a little differently, and they work with the content so that it makes sense, which is helpful. But their pre-day workshop, the pre-conference workshop rather, you want to register and you want to sign up for that. It's free. When you register, it's free. I don't know if I should say anything else to that, right? It's free when you register. But that is something that is helpful. And also, they will be going through the content to help you get ready for your 2015. I mean, not your 2015 cert. Of course not. Your Nintex Workflow Pro certification. They will be helping you with that. So, register today. You want to sign up for that. Um, I don't know how many seats are left. I need to get that. I'm not sure how many seats are left on that, but you want to register. Also, if you heard about the Zarkana tickets that ended in December 31st, but you still should register anyway. You can use the Hangout 15 code, which means that you heard about it on the Nintex Hangout. Use that code, get the early bird special with the Hangout code. That Yes, get the early bird special and register. Also, if you want to look at the agenda is actually pretty good. I'm excited about it. Mike Walsh, as you saw, is going to be the keynote speaker. I actually went out and looked at a couple of his YouTube videos, and yeah, I mean, I knew about him before, but I was like, yeah, I'm definitely wanting to hear from him. But look at that. We have on the February 23rd, we're gonna have a keynote with Nintex's own CEO John Burton, and I've had the pleasure of obviously talking to him since I work here, but really knowledgeable guy, great communicator, and really good at inspiring and something that I mean he's going. I'm not sure exactly what all he's going to talk about. I heard some tips and things, but I'm not going to say anything about those. But these are sessions you don't want to miss, as well as a lot of other ones. We're gonna have stuff on DocuSign, some things on Salesforce. I think we're gonna have an entire track on Salesforce, which is going to be huge. Actually, you can see that right there. An entire track on Salesforce and how Nintex Salesforce and document generation is actually being leveraged to make companies like, I mean, Tesla. Come on, I mean, so we have Tesla using Nintex document generation. How awesome is that? I actually wanted Tesla at some point in my life, but those things are super expensive. So we need to work with Elon Musk to say, give us a discount for Nintex or something. Maybe we can rent one while we're out there in Las Vegas. But no, seriously though, I mean, there's a lot of things out here in on the agenda. So take a look at that and register today. You want to register before the early bird special expires. So definitely register as soon as possible. Going to secure your tickets. Also, register early so you can get your hotel and your flight and everything if you need it. Get those things done. So, man, it seems like I've been talking a lot about a lot of other stuff, and I know people are like, okay, let's get to the Q&A. Let's get to the questions and answers. Let's figure out what can I do better in the community or with the product. So, with no further ado, I'm gonna have another blog come out. So I got the one blog that I've committed to writing. Actually, it's almost finished. Writing on the top 10 updates for the year, and then another one. Um, I got a surprise. I've been working really hard over the holidays to wrap up a short surprise for you all. That's what I'll say. No, it's I've been working on the ebook for Nintex. Actually, this will be a year in the making. And you'll be like, wow, it's a really short book, so why a year? Um, After working with the product for so long, and I'll definitely share more about it on the next Hangout. Hopefully, we'll have some things done by from one of the editors. But it's the concept. People are still struggling with the concept of what is Nintex, how do I use it. So I wanted to address some of that, but then also walk through some of the things of how to use Nintex. I mean, a lot of people still, how do I build a basic workflow? How do you start with there, and then how do you continue on? And then I give some, definitely some tips, some tricks, and some things that I've seen from optimization and stuff like that. So I don't want to give the entire book away, but it's something that I think will be a good asset when it's finished. When it's finished, I'll be glad when it's finished. But I think it's a good asset that'll be out there for you to get your hands on and to see how you can optimize it. It will be updated, so don't think that it's just one thing and it's done. Obviously, we're updating our products, and we're adding some new things as well. Hint, hint, there's some new things coming in 2016, so be on the lookout for that. But the ebook will be an edition that's continually updated, and so definitely once you get plugged in, we'll have a site for it and stuff like that. But this is something that I think it'll be a good asset to help with everything else that we already have in the community, et cetera. So I wanted to kind of put that plug out there for you all. But anyways, let's go into questions and answers at this point, because I've taken enough of your time talking about a whole bunch of other stuff, right? Alrighty, so here's one. Does the duration of the sub workflow count towards the duration of the calling workflow? And I'm wondering how this was written, but I'm let you read that and we'll see what is he exactly meaning. So trying to break a long workflow into parts to help not reach the max process duration limit. Has anyone done this or anything similar? Barry, thank you for your question. Barry Steinberg, thanks for your question. I will post a response out here, but wanted to talk through this one with you. Um, so if I'm understanding you correctly, you have a workflow and you want to then call another workflow. Let's actually look at this really quick and see if we can do this. I believe we have this thing in here called, we do start workflow. Cool. So if I am in one workflow and I'm calling another workflow to start, whether on-prem or on 365, does this one main workflow affect and add? So if I have two or three, actually, let's just make this really interesting. Let's do a parallel block here. And let's say, for example, I wanted to do this. And can I do this? Copy, paste. So say, for example, I wanted to do that. Or do I have that ability? I do have the ability to do that. Let's actually do this as a state machine. And let's do start workflow. So depending on the state, which is a better example than a parallel block, depending on the state, actually, let's just make this really nice. Depending on the state that it's in, so this state could be, let's say, new employee or newly hired. Let's say new hire, and then this state could be, oops. Let's do this state as why can I do that? There we go. This state could be create email. And this could be for like an onboarding process. So this one is assigning a task to notify the manager. Let's actually, yeah, let's work on this one. Email, an email. So I'm not going to configure this one, but this say for the this is an example, right? Um, so a new hire comes in. We want to assign it to a manager. The manager gets assigned, gets notified that he needs to, create a onboarding process for him, whatever. Start that workflow, and then you have another one here where create email. So this one goes to the IT director. This is a workflow that notifies IT, or it could actually do it itself. Create either a user in Office 365 or create a user in AD, etc. You can do that. So this is your workflow, Barry. So if that's the case, does the duration of these sub workflows, say this workflow takes 3 minutes, this workflow takes 5 minutes, and this all workflow, like, does these durations of yeah, actually, these sub workflows affect the duration of this workflow? Yes and no. So in the premise of it, technically, technically, no, it won't affect it. If you have something in here that says just start the workflow, and then I want to do this right here, terminate. Um, I could do this literally. Say terminate workflow, or yep, I could actually do that. So this is running a process. Actually, I need to end. So I started the state, right? I also need to end the state. Anybody recognize this? Oh, wait, I can't end the state. I need to terminate the state. Am I missing that? State machine set next state. There it is. So you need to and remember, when you're working with a state machine, always have a set next state. Even if your set next state is to end or exit the state machine, you want to do that. That is hugely important. So what you could do here is you start the state, you tell it, okay, yep, run through some processes, whatever. As part of the state, start this workflow. So now what Nintex is going to do is go start that next workflow. This workflow is still technically running. You can then tell it to either pause, you can terminate it, you can end it. You could just delete this actually. You could just exit the state and then have it stop. So it would end here. And this workflow is actually running. So this process would end while this one is either running, starting, or in a pause state, etc. And this one as well. So they're technically disconnected, but they're kind of connected in a way. If you wanted this workflow to be dependent upon the results of this workflow, you would then need to have something in here that tells it to pause or wait for an event, wait for a list item to update, etc. Um, and then this workflow would then pause, which, yes, then if this one took 3 minutes and this workflow was paused, it will pause for 3 minutes, or say 3 days. This workflow, this main workflow that kicked off the sub workflow, would then pause for 3 days and whatever time it took for it to update and then finish. So that is something to be aware of when running that, Barry. And like I said, I'll post some information if I can find your question. I'll post some information on this, but yes and no, depends on how you set up your workflow, and depends on how you set up your process for that, or what you're actually trying to achieve. So that should help out with that question. Thanks for posting it on the community. This was one which is actually interesting. So wait, is this the same person? Barry? No. So there's two different Barrys. I did not do that on purpose. I promise. Um, but the next question is, it was asked by Cynthia. Add attachment control. Is there a way to change the text display on the add attachment icon, similar to where you can add a row icon and change the repeater box, etc.? So she's one, instead of displaying add attachment, you could add resume. Let's see what she did. Barry, great answer. Love you, dude, for what you did. Thank you. That was something that was super helpful and great to see that coming from someone else in the community. So let's see. I want to pick a list. Any list will do. And let's go to Nintex forums. Let's see exactly what we're talking about here. And while that is happening, I need to pull up my text. There we go. So I created a form, random form here, and you can see attachments, whatever. So let's actually preview this form to see what does this form look like. Not for the form's sake, but more for, there we go. So add attachment. And she said that in the repeating section, you can change it. So let's actually do that really quick. I'm going to add a repeating section down at the bottom. And it says add new row. And I'm going to modify this text for add row icon. See that right there? Text for add row icon. I want to say here add resume, for example, or add, no, actually you wouldn't repeat resume. Add I'm hungry, so let's grocery items. How about that? So let's see if that works. So you see how this changed here. This is using, we've done some things here to help with that. So add grocery items, you can do add receipts, EPPS. So, and you see this changing here. So that's what I believe she was asking for. And like I said, Barry did a great thing. He gave us some code to do that. So to do that, let's look and see what Barry recommended rather. So you can do this via custom JavaScript. Within the custom JavaScript section of the form setting, add the following snippet of code: NWF document, read, etc. Great news there. That is exactly what we wanted. So I can actually copy and paste this. This has some lines in it. So what I did, and I'll show this to you all, is I actually just plopped it into Notepad really quick to strip out the numbers for you all, for myself rather. And let's go to form setting, custom JavaScript, and let's just paste this in. And the text that we wanted to change was add resume. Let's see what happens. Hey, nothing happened. Of course not. You have to actually render it. So let's look at this, because that code at the form setting page renders on runtime rendering. So but look at there. That's exactly what we wanted. So again, walking through that, form settings, custom JavaScript, and then you can change that. So we can add this to add. So it says add document, add resume, add image. Say for example, you wanted to, someone upload an image, etc. Preview that again. Here we go. Add image. Awesome. That is so great. Appreciate that so very much. I actually don't know what I would do without that one. Um, I knew that one existed, but wanted to show you all that. So great job there. Really helpful. All righty. The last question that I have is Nintex forms for Office 365. Let's see here. Does the Nintex form for Office 365 auto-generate fields from list columns? And if it does, why it doesn't do this in my case? Not sure. So Fatma Iman, I'm not sure. So let's look at, Andrew actually answered the question. It was really helpful here. On the first time opening the list form, should have the fields preset. What type of list are you using, and can you provide screenshots? Good answer. Good question, rather. Back at him. And then, so Simon also said, if you drag controls onto your form, fields are not created automatically. That is correct. If you click to create a column, then the column will be created in your list, and you'll be able to connect to it with the control and drag the connected control from the list column section back. That is true. So let's actually look and see what's going on here. Right, we're in our form again. Actually, let's start with the new one, just so that no one says, hey, that wasn't really the way it was. So I'm going to create a new list. Actually, yeah, let's create a new list. Why not? New list, custom list. We're going to call it a test list. And where's my test list? There we go. We're going to add a couple of columns to this test list. We're going to do this outside of the product so that you can see what happens when you first go. So field 1. Oops. There we go. Field 1, single line of text. Why not? We're going to do a couple of different ones. Field 2. I'm actually just going to go straight down the line. Multi-line of text. Oops. Should call it field 2, right? Create column. I'm being a little impatient with the UI. Field 3. Choice. I'll leave those there. Drop downs. Why not? Let's make them check boxes. Make it fun. Alrighty. And let's do field 4. All right. Field 4. And that'll be a number. Actually, let's do date and time. It usually does a little different formatting when that happens. All right. So we got 4 fields here. And so ideally, when you open up Nintex form, so first, if I were to just create a new item, this is going to use a standard out of the box SharePoint list form. So we know that happens when you open up Nintex forms. By default, it will then pre-populate the form based on the fields that are already presented or already readily available. As you can see, that are already available via the SharePoint list. So if you are trying to create a form and you're using a list, one or two ways you can do it. You can either create your item, your list columns first, and then the form will then just pre-populate as it did here. The other way you can do this is you could do this from the form, but do know that it doesn't do this. So I could create a column. So just to do this, so this is going to be designer. one. So this means I'm doing it from the designer, and I'm going to do a yes or no checkbox. So, hey, it's not there. Of course it's not there. I'm going to do designer 2. And I'm going to do this is people picker. Why not? It's not there. No, but your list columns are here. So if you add a column from the designer, you have to drag it in. It doesn't do it automatically. It's not fun. Um, the other thing you can do, so you can do control and use and see everything that's out there. The other thing that you could do if you didn't do any heavy modification is reset the form. However, do know that if you did make any modifications, it will blow those away. So just be careful on that. But if you reset the form, look at what just happened. Because Nintex is tightly integrated with SharePoint, it allows it to actually update. Now I do have the 2 new columns that I put in there. So that may be the answer for what you were trying to do. You just didn't go about that in the correct steps. So when you're working with Nintex forms, one of the things to keep in mind, if you create controls inside of the designer, then the controls will not show up by default. However, you can hit reset form and it will bring those in. The other way to do it is to create the list controls first inside of the SharePoint UI and then open up Nintex Designer, Nintex Forms Designer, and it will then pre-populate the form for you and allow you to then make your modifications. I've done this a lot because it's a lot easier when doing this to kind of get it styled where things are kind of already pre-done. They already have their kind of padding and everything already there, and I can just kind of come in and just modify some things and then go on about my day. So much helpful. But there are cases where you need to do some other things and you need to add some things. You're starting to build it out and you're like, oh, I forgot this field. You can always go up here, create a column, add your column, and then go from there. Or the other thing that you can always do is this. So what that actually one other example would be, say geolocation, you want to bring something in, you could bring it in, and if you needed something to be formatted, use this format painter. So grab one of these, format painter, and do that, and it'll kind of readjust the padding and things based on what you selected. So that is one thing you do. But again, do know that like this right here, it says not connected because it is not connected to anything. So if I'm bringing something in from the side, um, I can bring it in. It's great. It's just not connected to anything until I actually do that connection. So I hope that does help with that, and that gives you the answers that you were looking for on that. With that being said, I know I came in a little late, but I'm going to end this one right on time, because it's fun to do that. And I'll work to be on time next in 2 weeks. But I wanted to mention something out here for a lot of people. We did see. Wow, I am actually 13. That's no big deal. We saw a lot of people comment over the year, just on different things, how to do things, etc. And I'm looking for the post. Where is the post that he created? Frank actually created a post on how answers are tallied, if I can find that. Um, and that's something that, is actually really helpful. I believe it's out here. Let's see if I can find it really quick. Mhm. There we go. Here we go. Oh no, not that. This one's not it. Where it's a post. I'll find it and I'll link to it. But yeah. So when using, I believe it's this one. It's not. I can't find it. Wow. I wish I knew where it was. But anyway, so there's a post out here that Frank did on a community that talked about how points are awarded, how to manage points, and things like that. And that's something that's really helpful to see. How are we actually dealing with points and what's going on with that from the community perspective. So I really do encourage you all to check that out. But going back to going back to as we wrap this Nintex Hangout, the first one of the year up, um, I personally want to say thank you for everyone that has watched the videos, watched the Hangout rather, that has participated live, that have tweeted me, that have posted questions on the community, that have sent questions to your TEs, TMs, to your managers, to your partners that are involved with the Nintex community. Thank you so very much. You are greatly appreciated. 2015 was an awesome year. It was a fast year. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff's coming. Working on a few things myself, and then also obviously working with the company on some things. There's a lot of huge enhancements, and I'm not even just saying enhancements, but new things that are coming to Nintex this year, and they're going to be exciting. For those that are coming to InspireX, you're going to get a kind of a sneak peek at a lot of them. So if you're weren't planning on coming to InspireX, but you want to know more about Nintex and with some of the products, some of the new products coming out, beta stuff that are happening, um, come to InspireX. I guarantee you it will be worth your time and effort, your time and your money on just getting more information about it, how to do things, getting inspired. Obviously, the conference title is InspireX, but getting inspired on how to use Nintex to do different things within your organizations. There's so much you can use Nintex for that a lot of people just don't do. They just do exactly what they need, and that's it. It's like you can do a lot more with it. So definitely stay tuned. Thanks for tuning into this one, for watching this one, the first one for the year 2016. Excited about what's coming. Um, and definitely interested in seeing what your feedback is on what we can do, some topics that we can discuss. We're going to do another one on DocGen. We're going to do one on forms and on workflow, or document generation rather, but workflow. We also got a couple other things coming up. We're going to do some interviews with some of our tech partners where we have specific features or actions available that a lot of people just don't use. For example, SAP integration. We have a couple of partners that have very specific actions on SAP integration, and they solve some really unique business problems with them. So we're going to have that to discuss as well. So definitely stay tuned to the Nintex Hangout section. We got a lot of stuff coming up this year, but really excited that you're a part of this community, a part of the conversation, and we look forward to hanging out with you again next time. The next one will be it's going to be actually close to the January release. Man, I'm going to have some great news. I've seen some of the stuff, going through, doing some testing, etc. Excited. So catch me January the 20th live right here. Looking forward to seeing you again and having some great new content, some great new updates on what the products have next coming in January. So looking forward to hanging out with you again. All right.